I see us. We're live. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, John. Morning, Rich.
Good morning, guys.
Welcome to the Jedi Archives. Today we're going to discuss issue 6 of the High Republic commentary.
Issue 6. And as usual, I'm going to start by sharing the variant covers. Oops, do I have the variant covers? I do. Oops. You guys see it there?
Which is so far my favorite cover. Just so you know, that's an awesome cover.
The Rancor.
Yeah, you're not going to beat that. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So this is the main cover. If you guys can see that. Is that better? So this is the original main cover for issue 6. And of course, we've got that Rancor. We can see all the tendrils from the drain gear trying to attack the Rancor. And we've got Avar Chris, our Marshal, riding the Rancor. This is a Virgin variant cover.
That's an interesting.
It's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail in that one, opposed to the other one.
We've got, of course, our Jedi Master Skier fighting alongside his former Padawan Keeve, and Avar Chris, Marshal Chris.
She's been.
Is she still his Padawan?
Yeah.
No, she's not a Padawan anymore.
I thought she was.
Yeah, she's a.
That's what the big buzz.
She passed, but she passed at the end of that. Remember, they surprised her when she showed up with the Starlight Beacon.
Yeah, that was the first issue.
Oh yeah.
And they knighted her.
So she's newly knighted. So she's she's shiny.
The rookie.
The Skier actually, I believe, in this issue references her to her as my former Padawan.
Yes. And then this next cover.
What?
That looks like Vernestra, right? Isn't that Vernestra?
Yeah, what a bizarre cover. I mean, it looks great, but I mean, I don't remember Vernestra at all.
I don't think she was even in the issue.
She does show up, I think, at the end. She's one of the. I'm getting them all confused. I'm reading the books too, and I know she definitely shows up.
She's
in the books.
In the other ones, I know her quite a bit. Not like a main character. You see her often. Yeah. I don't remember seeing this one at all.
Here's the Virgin cover of that same artwork. It looks cool.
I wonder if they requisition these, and they don't even really tell the artist like what's in it, the storyline. They just say, just make me this, and this, and that's why they have so many variants. And then that's why they decided.
Maybe.
I would love to know the process, and then maybe like right before they have like 6, 7 variants. Like, all right, this one's gonna be the cover. It makes the most sense.
It's kind of psychedelic.
It is, yeah.
It is.
Cool.
This one's a cool cover. It's got Skier, battling the drain gear.
No drain gear tentacles.
Not yet.
On him, yeah.
Well, that's strange because he's already been absorbed into the drain gear, right?
Well, what about right after the end of this comic? I think that's what this scene might be.
And then we have this was the June Pride variant.
See, I didn't know where to get that. I went to my comic shop and they didn't have it. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to get that.
Tarek and Surette. Yeah, I don't know. These are the Pride variants for June. I know that. Maybe they have a limited run.
Yeah, well, the comic book shop didn't have any. I bet you can find it on eBay for way more.
Probably. And here's one of like a different style of cartoonish.
Yeah,
for
we've seen like
Keeve.
maybe one of those each set. They probably have like several artists doing variants. And because this is obviously a different style, more almost like a cartoon type style.
Yeah, it's very anime-ish. It
Anime,
jumps
right?
out kind to me as.
Yeah. And that's it. Not too many covers.
Only 8.
Only 8.
Only a handful.
Remember that one issue that had like 26?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like the first 2 are pretty heavy duty.
Yeah.
For that,
You get a cover.
primary.
You get a cover. You get a cover. Covers for everybody.
And then I like that the series still has a lot of high ratings. So 95% ratings of liking the series. It's pretty good. I definitely like it. These are
I
all
like
creators.
this website a lot because of the bottom part right here where it talks about all the characters. It's hard for me to like Stellan. You see him in here, but they never say his name. So it's like, is that Stellan or? But then you tells you it's him right here, which I like.
Yeah, I do like that too. And now reading the books, I like having the comics because in the books it's hard to keep track of who's who.
And this is after, or this is before the Rising Storm. I can't keep track.
It's before.
Yeah, it feels like
This
it's
is
still got to be before.
This is before. Because by the time of the Rising Storm, that's a year later. It's a year later.
But I don't think they in the Rising Storm, at least from what I've read, they haven't figured out the Drenge yet. So I guess it's
no, they have.
No, I
they
think
have
it's a year later from the Great Disaster. I don't think it was a year later from now.
Yeah, it's from the Great Disaster. But this is, how long is this after the Great Disaster?
It's got to be some time after. I mean,
just months though, not a long time.
It felt like some time had passed when you get into how they broke into the book with the Jedi and the Hutts campaigning from planet to planet, trying to stop.
Because they mentioned that in the Rising Storm, how some of the Jedi are unhappy with Abar Kriss partnering with the Drengir, with the Hutts.
I can't keep track. It's tough when you have several stories going on.
I know, but one thing that I thought was cool is Orbalin. So remember Orbalin? I thought it was a hazmat suit.
That's just what he wears. It's probably a hazmat that he has to wear, right? Like his whole life.
No, he's an Ugor, so he's like a slime creature, like a blob, and he comes out in the Rising Storm.
So that makes humanoid, I guess, the shape. So he wouldn't.
Yeah, he can take any form, so he wears that humanish costume so that he can assume that form.
Exactly like the guy from
Rise of Skywalker?
No, good lord, the Dark Horse comic. Hellboy. He has one of his someone on his team is like Smoke, and he lives in the suit. Looks just like that.
Oh yes, he's Smoke. That's right. Yeah. This one's a slime. He's a blob.
So yeah, he lives in the suit to make him have that humanoid shape. So people are used to.
Yes.
So that's pretty close.
And there was one of these species in Solo, in the movie.
Oh, there was?
Yes. I didn't remember it, but I looked him up because I thought it was a cool character. Once I read it in this episode, I read about Orbalin, so that was kind of cool. And when I looked him up on the Wikipedia, it says that there was another one, and something with an H, like Hagor or something. And they always have 2 capital letters in their name. So like Orbalin has capital O, capital L, and the other one is like Hagrid, capital H, capital G, something like that. But that one comes out in, it's not Hagrid, but it's something like that. I kept thinking Hagrid. You know, I'm terrible with remembering things, but yeah, I liked it because he's kind of a blob. And I thought he was like, it reminded me of that creature in Rise of Skywalker who's on the Millennium Falcon. He's like doing repairs, that green slime blob.
Okay.
Remember he's doing some repairs, just like a little blobby.
Yeah, I need to watch it again to get more of an idea.
Or also that creature in that Star Trek spinoff, the funny one. Orville. Orville, Remember the slimy one that wants to have
Yeah,
he's in
the
love with
green
the doctor?
blob,
Yeah, the green
Neil,
blob.
or
That's
something like that. Does the way.
yeah, him. It reminds me of him. So it's kind of cool. So I want to see him.
What I like is he's a Jedi. He's not. I thought when you first see him, he's like a lab tech. You see him in an outfit, but in this
Yeah,
issue, he's using the Force, or it makes you think he's using the Force.
oh,
So
he is.
he's a Force sensitive blob, which I think is super cool. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be a humanoid. That's really cool. I really like
Yeah. Well, we've got a force sensitive rock, Geode, so why not?
that. Is he Force sensitive? I don't know if that's been confirmed.
Oh no. No, you're right. I don't know if he
I
is.
think,
He's
I think he's
just
just
a
awesome.
sentient. He's a sentient rock.
He's just badass.
So that's it with the sharing.
All right, well, let's get right into that crawl. This is one of the first times where they changed the whole thing. Sometimes lately he's been keeping like the top paragraph the same. This time they haven't changed all the paragraphs.
I think it's another
Because it's
indicator.
a new
It's probably reversed if I'm showing you guys right now. Now that I think of it. I can't really show you guys here. The Drengay assault on Starlight Beacon and Sidra Minor was stopped thanks to the uneasy alliance between the Jedi and the Hutts. So that's an ongoing thing we're going to be finding out. Jedi Keys, Trennis, desperate candidate to help stop the attack paid off, but it may have cost the life of a former Master Skier. Now, a much greater conflict is about to test Keeve and the Jedi like never before. If you remember how the last one ended, they were in bad shape. They were like completely surrounded. The Jedi, the Hutts, Starlight Beacon, everywhere had Drengay attack. But Keys did like a mind meld with Skier, and then they were able to tell, and Skier, because he attached with the mentally to the drain gear, they were able to fool the drain gear and like, kind of turn them off meat for a little bit by telling them it was boiled. So obviously it didn't work for long, but did buy them enough time to actually get Skier and Keys off the planet and get to like a place where they can take care of them. But Avar and the Hutt stayed behind, so I think that's pretty much exactly where we're leaving off. But it starts out pretty dire. the first page is just bad stuff happening.
I liked it because it starts off right away with all the action. You know, the Drengir are attacking all these people. They're so fast. You know, it's scary.
Well, and then the little narration that's going on, pretty much saying they were trying to make the frontier a new hope, kind of like this is a new place to experience. It even says there was hope, and now it's like now the frontier is no, it's you don't want to go to the frontier because the drain gear. So it's kind of changing the narrative of what their Starlight was trying to do with the frontier, the outer rim.
And then it has this awesome 2-page panel.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to see that because I didn't know if you were looking digital or not, but it is awesome on the
it is
the comic book. Whenever they have these 2-page panels and they got the Mad Max stuff with the Hutt, so far they had like 2 or 3 of them. They've been amazing shots.
Yeah, seeing Avar ride the Rancor is really cool.
But the Rancor, sometimes Avar looks the proportion to the Rancor, it changes. Because on the cover, she seemed a lot smaller. But now in this issue,
Well,
the Rancor seems...
changes a lot is the Rancor sometimes have armor, sometimes they don't have armor.
Right.
They have helmets and armor in the front. There's nothing, just bareback. I'm like, and then later on you see them bareback again. So it's almost like they're dressed like the Gamorrean guards almost. They almost look just like their armor.
I love the Rancor. They look cool.
I love them too. I definitely is like how to get some Star Wars nerds into it. Have Rancors and we're in.
Yeah.
You can't miss with those.
Yeah.
They have really been through all their mediums peeling back the layers of mystery from the Rancor. You know, they had the Moochie episode of Bad Batch.
Moochie.
Moochie. You know, then they've got tons of Rancor action in this comic series. So you're really getting your money's worth if you're a Rancor fan these days.
Definitely.
I just hope they keep them more like an animal, and they don't eventually become like sentient or anything. Because then that would be kind of, if they start talking and stuff, that'd be too much for me.
Yeah, no, they can't pull like an Endgame Hulk with the Rancor.
Yeah. I want them to just be monsters and just not get force powers and lightsabers.
Yeah.
But my favorite panel of this whole book is this one right here. Yeah, I was surprised it was so early in the comic book too. When I saw it, I was like, that's dope.
How the Hutt, she's kind of ruthless, you know.
Well, I like that
She doesn't care if they
like normally whenever you see Hutts, whether it's the Clone Wars or something like that, the Hutts they're the back. They don't really do anything. They tell people what to do. They're working the shadows. This lady's like, you always see, every time you see a panel, she's fighting, not like even hiding. She's kicking ass. She's doing great, and I love that about her.
She definitely
she's very active.
First time I ever see a Hutt do anything like that, and she's not even just like laser. She's like manhandling the lions, whipping them, just like she's hands on, and I love that. Yeah. She punches a drain gear in one of the panels. I don't know if you've seen that one. She just punches it right in the face.
Which one? Oh.
Like punch. I'm like, what? You don't see a Hutt do that.
It's funny. She's a giant slug.
Yeah, you don't think she's even got like any fighting prowess. When you see them, you see a slug, you don't think it's going to be able to do anything, but she can do it, and I love it.
She's definitely wanting to get rid of all the drain gear too, because they're encroaching on her profit. So she wanted just to blast the whole planet, burn them all up, because we know fire will kill the drain gear. And Avar's like, no, we can't do that. It would have killed everybody else that we're trying to protect. She's like, oh well, casualties of war.
Oh yeah, she says something like that. Oh yeah, let's just wipe out the planet.
Yeah.
I do feel like, and there is this little conflict between them. It happens when a little bit later on when the Rancor gets possessed by the Drengir too.
Spoiler
and
alert.
Avar's like, oh, that's a living creature, but the thing is the Hutt sort of wins the argument, because right after they talk about not firebombing the planet to kill innocent people, they find the dead settlers. So it's like they could have just firebombed it, saved everybody the trouble. The Rancor's got to go. I'm sorry, Avar, Chris. If that thing's got Drengir in it, it's got to go. It's got to go.
You know what? That reminded me of that dialogue between Anakin and Obi-Wan, when Anakin wanted to save the clone troopers. And Obi-Wan's like, no, they have their job. We have ours. We have to go rescue the Chancellor. Remember that part in Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
So Avar was like the Anakin role. Like, we have to protect all living things. And then the Rancor was like the Obi-Wan character saying, nope, it's casualties of war.
Yeah. Hearing Obi-Wan say that, I remember, yeah. But...
yeah, it's right at the beginning of Sith. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just, the way it turns out, it really doesn't speak well to the Jedi's disposition. So
one thing I noticed about this new High Republic is the Jedi are very flawed. A lot. It shows a lot of Jedi flaws.
Well, there's a lot of individuality, even in the books we're reading, and you finally catch up to them in the movies. Not so much. They're pretty much blanket all the same, and they, I think they're just talking about Rebel Force. They dress to look like commoners. They dress with the commoners. They don't do that now. They say they have the gold and white robes. Like, those are our dress robes. Like, there's no dress robes, but here they do. So they're definitely a little more high on their own stuff right now, as you can tell. Like we're the power of the galaxy, kind of. Even though we're doing it for good, we're definitely feeds their ego a lot.
And then this next slide is where we have Stellan Geos, right?
Yeah.
Because we're back on Starlight Beacon.
Or just say Master Geos. Okay. I read that as an L. Domesticalos.
Oh, yeah. Master Geos.
Like that looks like Geos. That's funny.
And why does he contact them?
He's
oh, that's right. That's when he's concerned about Avar Chris partnering with the Hutts.
It's kind of a weird page. Like didn't fit with a lot of the other stuff. And he almost sounds like a little bit like he's asking for the other Jedi who don't agree with her. Like, what are we getting here? Is he trying to usurp her or something, or trying to build a coup against her, or a case that she's doing the wrong thing or something?
Well, I think they're not sure, and so they're just like trying to get feedback from everybody else. But then he tells them, "What's this guy's name? Maru? Yeah. Jedi Maru is like, well, you know, it's working. The Drenger's advance is being slowed."
And I hate the line where he says it should have never begun. And when people talk like that, drives me nuts. Yeah, it shouldn't have ever begun, but you can't talk like that now. You can't focus on like holding people to blame from the past like that. I read that line and I was like, oh, okay, I already know he's in the wrong here.
But you know what? I like that line because the Jedi are the ones that they unleashed it. So they're the ones that originally unleashed the Drengir.
Yeah.
And so he was right to say that they're the cause of all this.
Yeah, but I agree with Jonathan in a sense. It's like there's no time for Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah.
You know, like, hindsight's always 2020. Let's try to figure this out. You're not being productive by casting blame.
Yeah. And he's finding out about Skier, what's going on with Skier. Then we see him hooked up in the lab. And they're trying to like slow down. He's like in a coma, I guess, right? Trying to slow the progression because the Drengir is still progressing within him. He's being infected.
Yeah, he's in some sort of containment field, and I don't believe he's conscious at this point.
I do like to finally get some technology though, to fight back the Drengir, because before it's like we have no idea how to stop them at all. But finally, they said this stasis at least stops it from growing. So at least they're learning some technology about them, because really, I think that's what's going to be what beats them. The Drengirs trying to figure out some kind of technology that can actually help defeat them, because lightsabers really don't do anything.
Right. Right.
I will say this for this class of Jedi. Like, yes, they're arrogant. Yes, they can be self-absorbed, but they know a lot more than the Jedi, it seems like we see in the movies.
Yeah.
They got a lot going on.
Yeah, they do.
Just in terms of tech and the tech force mixture and understanding of force powers. It's not vanilla, that's for sure. There's a lot to it.
Yep. And then we have they want all of the Jedi to leave, but Key was like, no, let's do another scan. And that doctor's like, he's a Jedi too, right? Because everyone on Starlight Beacon's a Jedi.
Oh,
I'm not sure if the doctor is.
I don't know what that worm thing is.
I wasn't sure if that was a droid or not.
No, he's like a worm, He's got lots of legs though. He's not a snake. Looks like a snake with arms.
It's kind of funny because I haven't seen it. To me, it's like straight out of something like Orville or Futurama when I see a giant worm like that.
No, there's a lot of references to Orville in this stuff. And then they find all the people back on the planet and they're dead. They've been drained. So, and that's when the Rancor gets infected.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
It is. I like it.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
time I
they-
see it,
Go ahead.
it reminds me of the aliens. You know, when it goes inside the mouth and
Yeah, that's always I never liked that. I go, "Ugh." It's always- yeah, and then in the nose, and it's just yeah,
the nose. I know that nose thing.
yeah. And then she just abandons it too. I'm like, she's literally the lightsaber's feet away from the vines. Like, okay, I actually thought that panel was for cutting it. And I'm like, no, she's just failing. She's jumping
Yeah,
off.
she's failing.
Oh,
I mean, I don't think you want to be too close to a Rancor possessed by Drengir. That's how I took it. You get to get a little distance.
Did you have a comment about this page, Rich? The one where she's bailing, the Rancor is absorbed.
Oh yeah, you guys didn't just hear me. Am I muted?
No, I hear you.
No, I might have just had my speaker covered up like an idiot. Well, what I was saying was, you know, when you see a Rancor getting overcome by Drengir, it might be best to get a little distance. I don't think you want to be right next to it or on top of it.
Poor little guy.
I
Yeah.
know. And the Drengir are definitely dark side with those black bubbles. Neat.
I like that
Yeah.
you're not scared of the Rancor at all. They went after it. I mean, that's a lot of meat.
Is that are they eating that Rancor or they're incorporating him?
I assume that's what the plan is for everything, is to eventually, like they did with the settlers, they just drain them.
Mm-hmm. But with Skier, they didn't. Remember, they incorporated him.
When they have a Jedi, especially even from the books, they try to use it as opposed to eat it. But yeah, I don't know what the plan was: is to eat this guy or just to use him.
Right?
Can they do both?
Probably, maybe use them then eat them.
Yeah. You gotta imagine you want a Rancor on your team.
Yeah.
Because I think in the third or second episode, they did explain to Keeve that some they will eat and some they will decide to use.
Yeah, pretty much. I noticed whenever they have a Jedi, they try and, I mean, Sarek, Skier, and
That's right.
Antonio Banderas. They use them.
Mhm.
I don't remember his name.
He's in the book though, but yes, they use him. And then so Avar is like, no, this is getting out of hand. I need more help. So she calls all the Jedi from Starlight Beacon to come and help. And that's when
Keeves disobeys a direct order. That's what
Yeah.
she does. She does.
She just did what she wanted to do, huh?
Yeah, Keeve just didn't listen.
See, like
Well, she's always been on the fringe.
Yeah, I mean, but she's like a newly minted green nose rookie who's only been a Jedi for just what, a month or so. And, no, I'm gonna do what I want.
Well, I think it's that strong connection she has with her master because she really loves him, and you know, that's her father pretty much.
Isn't that supposed to be forbidden? Like, doesn't that kind of go too far?
They actually
But
say it later on. They say
It
that
does say it.
it says something straight up like, "This is not the Jedi way" or something like that.
But even in the book, they mention that too. How, remember in the book? Did you read the Rising Storm, Jonathan?
I'm not done.
Oh, but you know how you know that little girl that they find in the IDW comics, the one with the tendrils.
I haven't started IDW one.
Actually, IDW is really good. I like
Is
it.
it? Oh, I thought
Yes, it's getting really good.
that might actually be what we do in 2 weeks from now, because I think we're gonna be caught up.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'm excited to get into that. The beginning starts out weird, but it's good.
Yeah.
But she's talking to the girl, and it's Lula, and she tells her, "Oh, I never knew my family because the Jedi collect the children when they're infants." She goes, "But for me, my family has been, the Jedi, my master. He's like my Jedi masters, like the parents. So they still do form those bonds, but with strangers, with other Force sensitives."
I mean, that's one thing you definitely see with all the new stuff. All the comic books, all the High Republic comics, and all the books, they all have, you're following mostly apprentices that all are either thinking about their masters because they just lost them or something's wrong or they're missing. Almost all your heroes right now are the apprentices. So it's kind of cool to
Mm-hmm.
look like that, but they're all, every single one I feel like has this attachment that they may or may not have. And I guess Stellan was kind of explaining a little bit about possessions and stuff. Like you can have them, you just have to be ready to drop them when it's time to drop them.
Right,
So
right.
you can have. He's talking about passions. You can have passions, and like you just at when it's time, you have to be able to just let go. And so I think that's going to be like these apprentices build these bonds, but when it's time, they have to be able to let go. And I'm not saying that with any of them yet, but they're young. I mean, I didn't make any smart decisions when I was young.
Yeah, that's right, for sure. So she disobeys because she doesn't want to leave her master alone because she's too connected to him. So she takes off the force field, which of course starts the Drengir growing again, and she gets connected to him, and the Drengir start attaching,
She
and
hooks
she's able to.
the USB device through her nose or something.
Yeah, right into her. I guess it's going into her brain. But then this was pretty cool because it reminded me of how Rey and Kylo, when he gets connected to her brain, and he's able to see the map and everything in her brain, but she's also able to see everything in his. So it goes both ways, and they explain that a little bit here. She's in that
They're in the
like the
high
Matrix.
kind of,
In
yeah.
they're in the Matrix.
Yeah, and I
There
guess
definitely is an element of that in this.
it is that panel right there. Oh, that's where you start saying this curse word, "kif." They use it several times in this book.
A lot.
Yeah, Kievan or language.
Criff.
Criff.
Criff. Yeah.
That's their new word, huh?
Criff.
But you do see this is where this is not the Jedi way. I don't care, neither do I. So they're definitely bonding right there.
But those are like their force selves, right? Because Skier has both of his arms.
Yeah, this
So
is
it's like their mental image.
kind of astral,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Right, right. And they're inside
Like the
they're
hive.
inside the Drengir.
Drain. I
The
guess
hive, yeah.
definitely cool. Really, there's some defenses I noticed, but it doesn't seem like it's just like vines that like to grab them, but there's no actual Drengir under there that's like trying to eat them.
Right, because I think they're in the roots, right? They went all the way to the root. They're not at the tendrils.
Ultimately, yeah.
But I think that's what this part is too, because they're in the heart of something.
Don't they follow it in the next couple pages though? Follow them toward the vines towards the roots.
Well, yes, but it goes back to the planet where Avar and the Hutt are losing the battle against the Drengir, and that's when they're like,
"Who's her right here? The Mayaga or whatever her name is." I was like, "Man, she does not look in a good spot." So this is where she goes, but
yeah,
Avar again. Avar is like the superstar of this whole High Republic so far.
oh, I love her.
Yeah.
And there's Orbelin. I love him. And then Avar can hear that
She can hear
Kiev is inside the Drengir.
because how she foresees the Force. She doesn't sense it. She hears it as a song. She listens to the Drengir song, which I would love to more because she says something like, "You should hear their song" or something. I'm like, well, what does their song sound like? But then she says, "Oh, I can hear Kiev's in there too now."
I imagine the Drengir song, Jonathan, sounds like the introductory music to The Shining, because it always scares the crap out of me. And my pug hates that. Whenever I put The Shining on, because I love that movie, my pug starts barking at it. He doesn't like that music at all. Because music can give you those feelings, you know. Some music makes you sound happy, some music sounds scary.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed that their song would be like death metal.
Well, death metal's not that scary though. But yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, I imagine the Hutt's like that.
Or the Nihil. If you listen to the first High Republic book, they have a lot of death metal. What do they call it? death punk metal or something like that. They play a lot of it in the background while you're listening to the book.
That's
And
right.
pretty cool because it's definitely a new sound and
In the Star Wars, for sure.
definitely cool. Yeah, the Kasu. Like whenever you hear Kasu, like in his battle, this crazy music playing in the background. It's awesome. I love it.
It is awesome.
Storm. And he plays the
So when Avar hears that, she's like, "Oh," she goes, "I hear Keeve in there." So she calls back and says, "Hey, where is Jedi Keeve?" And then Maru's got to like snitch and say, "Oh, you know what? She disobeyed. She's connected to."
yeah. Force preserve us. I like that. Like God save us. Force preserve us.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cool sayings in the High Republic now. I like all that. They remind me. They're a lot more like who was Obi-Wan's master? Qui-Gon, right? They're a lot more like Qui-Gon. These Jedi.
Yeah, yeah. He was very unique too. Like he didn't fit in with the rest of Jedi, and so he would
But
actually.
notice there's a lot more like him in the High Republic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's a lot more unique characters in these stories than there is in
Mm-hmm.
what we know as our Jedi Order with the movies because it's just
Mm-hmm.
they allow the uniqueness a lot more, and Qui-Gon definitely fits this mold a lot more.
Right. And then this is where they find out that Keeve is communicating, and she's like, "We've got to find the first seed, the great progenitor." Right? She's figuring it out because she's connected to the hive mind, so she can see all that too.
Yeah. Through her nose.
Through her nose, yes. But then she's fighting it, and then the other Jedi start to help her. They start using the Force to strengthen her.
You see the blob guy, whatever his name was,
Or Orbalin.
using the Force, which I love. So I'm like, all right, so he's Jedi, or he's just doing that, but it looks like he's using the Force. And he says we are
No,
all.
he's a Jedi.
So I love
Yes.
that. He's probably going to be one of my favorite characters now because it's just so unique. A blob.
I know, me too, Jonathan. I like him a lot too. So I've been researching him. So we've got to watch Solo and find the other Ugor in there.
Yeah.
Because it says that he was working on Coronet City for 10 years before he got laid off. So I'm like, what? Let me go find him.
I
And
will
then this is
say though, a little bit of this art gets kind of dumbed down. I noticed, like the previous page and some of these, especially their faces, it kind of looks like comic strip art, like in the funny pages. But I don't know why.
yes, like especially the bottom of this page too.
Yeah, like the faces, they'd use dots for eyes. I don't know if they're running out of budget or it's like time the due date was coming up. So like, let's just put dots, make them look kind of funny.
Yeah. But to me, it gave me the feeling of movement. So like being dragged.
That's what I see with that. But it's still just like, it looks kind of goofy. Like she has one tooth or something. I don't know. It's kind of childlike. The scene is a little.
But they do.
They just say, "Oh, the vines all of a sudden are leaving. Let's grab them," and then they're there. Would like to see the what happened a little bit, but
Well, because it's like a forced projection. Because they're inside that matrix, so anything can happen.
yeah. In this scene, I see this, and this looks straight out of a Marvel comic book. That's supposed to be Thor on top. The dark blue and the light bolt and the waving cape. I was like, is that Thor? That's what I thought. I
Yeah.
see this exact image several times in a Thor comic book. So definitely a Marvel comic right here.
Looks good though.
Yeah. That is a big drain gear. Bigger than a rank.
It's the first seed, right? It's the first seed.
I could eat it in one bite.
And this is where Keeve starts to connect into the Draengeir mind instead of just the Draengeir mind. So she's infecting the Draengeir. She's doing the same thing the Draengeir doing to her.
I actually thought the comic was over there. I was like, oh, it's gonna end. So that's a good place to end it. Like, what a cliffhanger.
It would have been.
Yeah.
I know.
I was excited. Yes, I need more. But yeah, she kind of, you can connect to us in here. We can connect to you. It's just one big shared hive mind.
Mhm.
But it kind of worries me. Like, obviously, she got a lot of information from him, but it could have been the same way. It could have got a lot of information from her, like anything it needs to know about the Jedi's defenses or where they're located bases.
Yeah. Well, at least what she knows.
Yeah.
I
Well,
wonder how
Skier was
much
in there too at
interest.
this time, so now I can pull from Skier's mind. I'm thinking too.
Mhm.
I wonder how much interest they would even have in that. Like, how strategic is the Drengir beyond feed and spread?
Yeah, they could just do it for the next planet and eat. They can't stop us anyways.
Yeah.
And this is where Skier. Well, you see Keeve get impaled, but you know it's her astral projection or whatever. This is where
Mhm.
Skier goes full badass. He just like he mentally separates himself from the Drangir, and I think permanently, completely.
To save her, right? To save his Padawan.
So he
And
digs.
remember, the other Jedi are also reinforcing them, so they're getting extra strength from Orbalin and Estala Maru.
I'm kind of unclear as what the real world consequences are for Keith trying to getting stabbed in the astral realm.
I guess it depends
You
on what.
know, like, was she at like real danger of actually dying? I'm just not sure. Well,
I
I don't
think
feel
it's
like
like
that
the
was clear.
Matrix. I think it's like the Matrix, that if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life. So I think that if she had died in that realm, she really would have physically died. But I mean, it definitely probably hurt, but it didn't kill her.
Well, there could have also been the real danger. The longer she's connected on the outside, the more damage it's doing to her body, sapping her and stuff like that. So she could have also not only dying in the astral, but she could have been dying out here too. Being they might not have been trying to take over her; they might have just been trying to kill her,
Mm-hmm.
and they could have easily too. They were she was pretty covered on those lines.
This looks good. And so then, once he separates, they're like out of the trance, and Skier's no longer under the Dranger control. And they're like, "Oh, we lost the connection, but we failed."
Wait,
And that's when
is that his baby arm growing back in the middle panel?
it is his little baby arm. Yeah, because it's got little fingers. It reminds you of the one from remember the one from Mars? What is it, Quattro, or the one on his belly? His little hand. What's his name?
Reminds me of Deadpool when he has little feet. I mean,
Oh, that's right, his little baby feet.
Little baby hand growing out. I didn't catch that the first time.
It's funny. Yeah, his arm's growing back.
Well, it looks like he's going to be good. I mean, he's up, he's walking around, his arms growing back. Hopefully,
Now that he's separated, all the tendrils fell off, so he looks good.
Yeah, so I'm hoping we can get the ski where we're meant to get, which would be cool.
With both arms, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love being able to read the Arabesh on her sleeve.
Oh yeah, you looked it up, or you just memorized it?
Huh?
But
that's true, but it's.
I don't know how she did
Melita.
that.
When she was in there, I think she was carving it in her.
Yeah, see, I don't understand how that happened. If you're,
it's the scratches from the thorns.
She was making the thorn scratcher on the outside while she was on the inside. I mean, we don't really see it, but it's cool. So I think it's just one of those things you just gotta accept.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just gonna chalk it up to Jedi being Jedi.
But they use that word "criff" again 3 times. It's like whatever the criff they have. I'm like, okay, criff's the new.
It's the new F word. The KF word.
And we'll make a shirt with it pretty soon. Criff off. But yeah, they start kind of looking up the Molita.
Molita.
That's a nice panel though, with the Rancor holding the drain gear. That's cool. I didn't catch that the last time.
And we're at all 3 places because we're on Starlight Beacon, we're on the planet, and we're also where the Great Progenitor is.
Molita.
So we see all three places that we've been reading about in this issue.
So when they awoke the stranger, you think they awoke the progenitor on that face?
They awoke, yes, because when they took off those 4 statues, all of the Drengir woke up, even on the planet where they're from. They were all in the stasis.
Progenitor was on that face, or do you think if they could just force sleep any of them, they all sleep? With their hive mind.
I think it started with the progenitor and then spread to the rest.
I mean, that would make sense, but that's a big. Maybe it's been eating like nuts since it got back. That's a big.
Well, but that's the first one though. So that giant one is the original. It's the main one.
What's the name of that base?
Starlight Beacon?
Oh, the base where they're
Oh, where they were on the. Yes, it was the glass one, where they had the statues, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That's what this thing was. I just don't know how they missed this giant thing. That's kind of, I'm a little confused. That thing is big.
and then the panel for the next issue has that red lightsaber.
Yeah, I kind of don't understand where they're going with this. Is it maybe something just in her mind, or she actually runs into a Sith? We haven't seen any Sith yet at all.
But there aren't supposed to be any Sith, not until episode 1.
Oh, I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 or whatever, like hiding. But as I'm saying, they said they haven't seen the Sith in the millennia or something, right? So that's what I'm saying. This is a very teasing image. And then the September, the next 2 teasing ones are great too, because that's character we saw from the last book. Can never remember their names. And then you look like she's wearing Nihil armor, like she's going undercover or something.
Right? Yeah, the mask.
Yeah, that's definitely Nihil armor. So to me, that's the end of this arc. So I think we start a whole new story arc, and pretty much the new story arc is they're gonna
Number 7.
They're eventually gonna start looking for Mulita. But
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
the end of this arc is that none of this speaks to anything what we've been looking. I mean, obviously the covers are misleading, but none of it speaks to what we've been going over.
Well, there's kind of recurring themes though, because it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So, but IDW, I'm excited about starting the IDW. So for the next meeting, I think issue 1 of IDW would be cool.
Make sure everyone's got it, or get as much as they can of it. We have to share it if we have to or something. But yeah, I'm excited for that. What are your thoughts on this issue? Final thoughts, and if this is the end of that arc, what are your final thoughts on the arc?
Rich?
Well, the one thing we didn't mention, and I wish I could remember their name, but what was it, Jonathan? We were talking about the nightmare.
Oh my goodness, yeah, what was that? It's right at the end, so we can find it real quick. I remember this.
Where Avar references it.
We haven't heard of this planet since this time of age.
Oh, when you talk about Mulita?
However, the
Nightmare Conjunction.
The one guy saying we can't find Mulita on any of our star charts. However, there is a mention of a system in ancient records dating back to the days of the Nightmare Conjunction.
Nightmare Conjunction.
Sure
that sounds exciting.
Get comics out of that soon. But I have no idea.
That'll be 300 years before this. So it's creeping its way back to the High Republic. I mean, not the High Republic, the Old Republic, yes.
Yeah. Hopefully it finds a way to tie into the preview cover for next week, and we finally get some Sith action.
Oh, maybe, possibly. That's right.
Yeah.
Although, but remember, if they haven't seen the Sith in over a millennia, that means that they haven't encountered any Sith for over 1,000 years. So there shouldn't be any Sith.
Yeah,
I mean, I know they're still there
in the prequels until Darth Maul stabbed Qui-Gon Jinn in the stomach. You know, like they don't know what's going on.
That's true. They don't.
they said
do.
there hadn't been Sith in 1,000 years, but there was Plagius. Plagius is master. Like, there's a lineage that's been lurking in the shadows for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's possible that it could happen
Yeah.
again.
You're right. You're right. They don't know
They might
everything.
not even know it when they run into it. She might think this is just a Nihil or something. She might not even know it's a Sith. So
Yeah, there was still that head Nihil guy in the books. I forgot what
Martian
they called him.
Rowe.
Yeah.
Martian Rowe.
What would they call him? The Eye?
yeah,
The Eye.
he's got a yellow.
And he does have.
right now.
He's got that he stole from
Loaded.
Loden Greatstorm. That's right.
He seemed to
He
have
doesn't know how
more
to use
going
it though.
on than meets the Eye. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
I
But
think a lot more gets revealed about in this current book, and Mike probably knows. He's probably holding it in, but
There's a lot. I know. I don't want to spoil anything, but finish it, Jonathan. It's so good.
in the beginning, all I know, because I just read the first 2 chapters, they are visiting some kind of temple that only like him and his people know about. I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go. Some kind of powers.
Oh my God. That, I don't want to spoil it, but that part reminded me of something from Heir to the Empire series. So, but I don't want to spoil it, but you'll get to it. They never mention it, but I have a feeling.
Yeah.
So I know, read it.
I'll have it done by next time we meet up.
But you know what, Jonathan? I'm gonna recommend something. When you get to the battle scene, you should pause and then read Race to Crash Point Tower, because Race to Crash Point Tower happens entirely within that section of it.
Okay.
And Race to Crash Point Tower is not very long. It's like a kid's book.
I think like 3 hours.
And
yeah,
it's like 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. So when you get to that part, when you get to that battle part, switch over to Race to Crash Point Tower because it's simultaneous. And then when Race to Crash Point Tower finishes, then continue in the book, because the book, the Rising Storm goes beyond that.
Okay.
So you shouldn't read Race to Crash Point Tower before the Rising Storm because it's a spoiler. But it happens completely within that. Like when you get 2/3 into the book, Race to Crash Point Tower starts and ends, and then the last third of the book is after. So I wish I'd read it that way.
They're making it tough to follow, man.
They are, because yes, but I definitely do, and that's why the IDW that connected better. IDW Adventures connects better to the books than this does.
Okay. Cool.
So I liked it.
Oh, actually, what we could do in 2 weeks is we can go over the panel. Remember, they're doing. We can even watch the panel here. I'm sure it'll be recorded. The panel for the High Republic at Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We can do that. That would be cool.
We can watch that here with everybody and review it, or just review it, whatever we want to do. But that's what they're going to talk about the next year with planning out. So I'm sure we'll see some covers, and they'll talk general storyline, probably some release dates, and then they'll probably recap some of the stuff. And I don't know if they'll get a chance to do Q&As, but it'd be cool to hear some Q&As from. They'll probably do Q&As, but they're probably submitted Q&As.
Right.
Cool. Because there's still questions I have, especially when it comes to characters. Like when I read a book or something, or listen to it, or read it, I want to know what the person looks like. It drives me nuts. I can't remember what they look like.
That's why I got this, Jonathan.
Is that's got everybody?
And their names.
Like Pan Ada. I have no idea what Pan Ada looks like. I've seen pictures of the girl. What's her name? Lorna Dean. I've seen pictures of Lorna Dean, but I haven't seen pictures of Pan Ada. So I want to know what they all look like. And so it drives me
too. Well, I imagine them being really big. Like
I imagine the guy from Rise of Skywalker? Is it Rise of Skywalker? The first one. The Force Awakens, that big guy that just sits there who turns in who calls
oh yeah.
There's the kind of horns right here, orange, just big guy.
Yes.
That's what Pan Ada looks like.
Me too, but he's blue, isn't he?
I don't know. See, that's what I'm like. Did they mention he's blue? They just said he's big and hulking. I'm like,
I think he's blue. Oh, I'll have to remember. But yeah, I'd like to see them too. But whenever I can, I print these out. I look for these and I print them out. So this is a good one. I'll send you this one.
Yeah, send me that one.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I mean, covered everything. So 2 weeks, I think it's a good idea. We're gonna go over the panel. Try and watch together. We'll see. Well, I think it comes like a day before our show, maybe 2 days before our show. But I think it's a day. We can review it there, and to see how much you want to show during this. But yeah, excited to see it.
Me too. So you guys have a good rest
Bye,
of your
guys.
All right,
weekend.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
May the force be with you.